wherever you are. I hope this live meet you in good health and prosperity, because prosperity is your birthright. And if you want to prosper in life and you want to be happy, you have to be in control of your territory, which is your mind. Okay? As we can see, there are those who want to control other people's territory and tell others how to run their country and how to run their economy based off their greed for power and dominancy. Okay, and that is what I really want to highlight today, because of what is happening in the Caribbean Sea. Okay, and anyone who knows or who ever experienced a bully, you know that a bully will always meet his breaker. Also, it doesn't matter how powerful anyone think they are, they can be stopped. It doesn't matter how powerful any country think they might be militarily, they can be stopped. And as a little boy growing up, I used to hear people speak about propaganda. I used to hear people speak about America being Babylon. I used to hear people speak about America as being world police and a bully. But because of the age or the era in which we are living, even the blind could see and even the dumb could hear. And when it reached to this place where they believe that they could brag and boast and take people's life for fun, you know it is when an empire is about to collapse. They just reach to this stage. Like, for example, I heard the president of America calling this person from Afghanistan who shot two servicemen, two soldiers, two army men. Okay, he called him an animal. But this man wouldn't call Jeffrey Epstein an animal. This same man wouldn't even call himself an animal for terminating so many fishermen lives in the Caribbean. And anyone with common sense would know the punishment for drugs is not death. And anyone knows once you have the capabilities to capture people who dealing with drugs, that you're supposed to capture them and take them to court, and based on what is written there in law or in their constitution, it's supposed to go that way. But you see, when you tell yourself that you are invincible and you tell yourself you could do anything, you could say anything, it is because the fall or the destruction of such is very close. And I'm telling you, this is the rise and fall of Israel and America, because Israel is America and America is Israel. Don't make no one fool you. It's the same system. It's the same mind that is behind all of these world governments. It is the same mind that is behind all of this control that they use, especially like the religious control they use in the Caribbean, the political control and the educational system that they use to control the masses in the Caribbean. All of these things come from the mind of the plantation owners. And if you chase these plantation owners and you go all the way back to Europe, you find these Ashkenazi Jews and these so-called Israelites to be the culprit. And they continue through their children. And when one family has done its time, they pass down the rule and reign to another family. That's what they're doing. Okay? And that is what brings me to what is taking place in the Caribbean Sea, where a man who got into power to be the president of a sovereign country, how it was done what they call democratically. Could you imagine, right? America, we claim to say that they're a democratic country and people have democratic rights. And how people have the right to speak at the poll. Imagine the people of Venezuela would have spoken at the poll. Yet, they believe that it is their right to overthrow the Venezuelan government under the disguise of they're gonna destroy drugs and they're gonna stop the drug trade. Anyone with common sense would know, if you're gonna stop the drug trade, you'd have to stop the whole pharmaceutical trade. Because that is being synthetic just as the recreational drugs that people use. And everyone has been given a choice. Everyone has been given a mind. And you're the one who have to make the decision whether you're going to take drugs or you're not going to take drugs. But as I stated before, it is just as illegal to terminate someone because of drugs, which is illegal. So Trump is saying that he's correcting something and he's doing the same thing. So two wrong could never make a right. So he's saying that these people, they're trafficking drugs. So you have the right to blow up their ships and kill them without capturing them and show the world the evidence and then prosecute them. And they expect the world to stay silent when America have interests all throughout the world. There is a tourism industry that goes all around the world. America have interests in every Caribbean island. America have interests in Africa and all around the world. Don't you realize that the day gonna come when people gonna get fed up? Do you know when someone is being bullied all the time by a big bad bully, the time will come that they would be fed up of being bullied and it's gonna do something terrible. Just like what the man did in America, the man from Afghanistan. Because they use the people in Afghanistan to betray their own people, to work with the CIA and so on, to work with all of the operative and so on, and give them certain promises. And the people in Afghanistan who betray their own people and so on, and who was working with the Americans and so on, they had the idea that when they come to America, they would be fed with a gold spoon and everything was going to be well, because they were selling them the American dream, just as how they've been selling the American dream to the world. So when he get to America from Afghanistan and he realized, he come to the reality of what America is really like. and how people been treated. The man was willing to put his life at stake. And not until more and more people start to wake up and willing to put their life at stake to stop this big bad bully who believe he owns the Caribbean Sea and he control all the government in the Caribbean and could tell them what to do. Not until the people stand up to this bully that there would be peace in the world. So my brother, my sisters, I'm doing this because I believe that the people of Venezuela have the right to whatever minerals and whatever riches and wealth that is there. And they have the right to distribute it whichever way they find it fit to distribute it. They have the right to do business with whoever they feel pleased to do business with. Okay? They are not the one who trying to be the policeman of the globe. You see, when you check out the whole police system and you check out the system of NATO, you see the same system. And when you see who set up that kind of system, you see who wants to really control this world and control a sovereign country and try to act like a bully. So I would have to be a hypocrite not to speak against what is happening in Venezuela. You know, Trump is now saying that planes cannot fly over Venezuela airspace to carry their families. People want to spend Christmas with their families. People want to do businesses because people have businesses in Venezuela and so on, and people want to travel and so on. And he wants to stop that from happening. But if he was to turn the table, okay, he would fight. He'd be willing to send young men and women to fight to the death to defend America and tell them they are the land of the brave and the land of the strong and so on. Okay? But when you realize that if you seize the port of a country, that no goods could go in or leave the country for any export or import. If there's no export and no import by sea or by land, then you're planning to starve the people. You already put sanction on Venezuela and cause millions of people to leave Venezuela and then turn around and blaming the government for the condition of the economy in Venezuela. Because they believe they own the entire Caribbean. So my brother, my sisters, I'm doing this live to get your response to see if you're in collaboration or if you're in support with what Trump is doing. Because he campaigned on a rhetoric of peace. That is what he was promising the people. And all the religious people in the Caribbean and around the world, they like to say the devil is a liar. Well, if the devil is a liar, and he says that he was going to provide peace, he's going to stop war, and then he turn around and do the opposite, then who's the liar? And then who's the devil? So as a person who born and grew up in the Caribbean, I'm saying that we do not want any war in the Caribbean, because if you start war in the Caribbean, then the people of the Caribbean have a right to stop all the interests that you have in the region, one way or the other. You see, Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. And I believe in that. By any means necessary, you have to stop the bully. By any means necessary, you have to stand for what is right. And what Trump is doing is not right. And there are many people who are using social media. Okay, there are many YouTubers and that is afraid to speak on this subject I remember in 2020, they didn't want people to speak out about the COVID vaccine. I did video about the COVID vaccine. I talk about the COVID vaccine in 2020. Because, you see, it is better to die being a brave man than to die being a coward. Many people are going to leave this earth as a coward, and they're going to continue their life as a coward because they think when you leave this body that is it. No. That consciousness, that awareness continues, and whatever consciousness or whatever awareness you end this journey with, it's the same consciousness and awareness you're gonna continue the next journey with. Okay, that is why I cannot side with America and Israel with what they are trying to do. First of all, they invaded the Caribbean with the Bible and misinterpret the Bible to the people and colonize their mind with religion and a fake educational system and a fake governmental system. For example, all these islands down here used to have like a supreme leader, just like how Iran and so on have a supreme leader. And that supreme leader used to be one who's from the spiritual side, one who's been initiated, spiritually speaking. But like, for example, my country just had election, and it was just Friday that someone would have swear in. And he had to read from a book that would have been written with certain things there, and he had to say exactly what they tell him to say and repeat exactly what they tell him to say. But before colonization, it wasn't like that. And then they have someone in the island who's representing the crown in England. And that is a stolen place that they took from the bloodline of the mystics in the island who used to be in such a place and used to lead the people by teaching them who they are, by teaching them to be closer to nature, teaching them to embrace nature. But they shift the people away from knowing who themselves. And they set up what is called, like in my country, they set up what is called the government house. And that's where all the premises have to go and swear in at the government house. And then they fool the people and tell the people that they've been given independence. Yet they have to answer to the crown of England, and they still have a representative that's higher than the prime minister. So they changed the slave system from the physical aspect to a more systematical aspect of the same slave trade. Like, for example, I'm here sitting doing this live, and there's so much Caucasian people down that side, down there, walking around in this area because they came on a tourist ship. And nobody is hurting them, nobody is attacking them. But do you think that it would always be like that? I say no. I do not believe it will always be like that. If Trump continues with his behavior, okay, towards humanity, not just the people in the Caribbean, but people all around the world. If these people who think that they're so high and mighty do not humble themselves, they would be humbled, okay? But not until, people start to take a perspective of themselves and people start to learn to take control of their mind and start to change their belief system, that they will be able to do this. So, my brother, my sisters, I'm saying to you that it doesn't matter where in the world you're living, even if you're living in America, you have to speak the truth. You have to say what is right. Okay, even if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, you can see what is happening is that an empire is falling, and in order to build itself, it resorted into piracy. It resorted into conquering others. It's like you're living back in the time of the Vikings. It is like you're living back in the time of the Stone Age. And that is just to tell you the kind of mind that these people have. Is as if these people are like a parasite on this planet. It's as if these people are like a disease on this planet. They must always be the ones who must be in control. They must be the ones who must rule. We see what happened in Gaza. We see the genocide in Gaza. Now, because they have lost so much, money and wealth, fighting about more than 2 wars. Have a war going on in Afghanistan. They had a war going on in Syria. They had wars all over. Okay. And now they're turning to Venezuela to strengthen their empire. And whatever they do would affect the entire Caribbean. Because the Caribbean will not feel, all the people in the Caribbean will not feel safe, and people will not feel safe to travel to the Caribbean anymore, just because of their greed. So, my brother, my sisters, I cannot sit quiet on this. I can't, come every time speaking about spirituality alone and do not speak on the current events that are happening that will affect me, affect my family, affect those close to me, and so on. Okay. For so many years, Venezuela have been operating their oil business, and they have never invaded Guyana, and they're so close to Guyana. They may have had their little differences, but they never invaded Guyana. They never invaded Trinidad and Tobago, yet they live so close to Trinidad and Tobago. They live close to Colombia and the other countries in South America, the other countries also in Central America and the Caribbean too. And they never invade anyone. So right there you can see these people are peaceful people. It's not people who are led by greed, and people who want to conquer, and people who want to control and tell other people how they should live. You could clearly see that. And if Venezuela and its president never invade any of their nearby country, men or women, or the nearby islands, I don't see why America should try to come and control the Caribbean Sea and try to invade Venezuela and try to control Venezuela airspace. I'm totally against that. And so my desire is for the destruction of America to come. I can't wait for it to happen when they act that way. Okay, and anyone with a conscience would say the same thing that I am saying. Okay, because they are the one who like to speak about democracy. And Maduro, okay, doesn't matter what his personality may be, he was voted there by a democratic process. Okay? And if a man is being voted in by democratic process, he must be voted out by a democratic process, not by an overthrow that is backed by America and Israel. So that is why I am speaking against it, and I am doing it boldly. Okay, I do not care who it hurt or who agree or who disagree with me. I'm gonna speak the truth. Okay, because for example, if Venezuela, right, did say invade Guyana, I would speak against Venezuela. If Venezuela did invade Trinidad and Tobago, I would speak against Venezuela. But Venezuela never invade none of those countries, and they have always been allies with the people of the Caribbean, whether you agree with them or you disagree with them. Okay? And we see anyone who stood up against America. America used sanction. Look what America would have done to the people of Cuba. Yet the people of Cuba still survive and still stick to their sovereignty. And I would encourage the people of Venezuela to do the same. Okay? Hold to your sovereignty and fight to the death. If I was there, I wasn't going to leave. And I know many of the people who leave there to go to America thinking that they're going to find better in life. They're fooling themselves because that is not the country where they were born. There's something about living in the country that you're born and you grew up. There's something about that. That's why I never migrate to go and live in no other country outside of my country. I don't believe in that. I believe the land of opportunity is right between my two ears. And I believe that if you have what it takes to survive and to flourish in the country where you were born, you could live anyway and flourish the same way. So why leave home? Okay. So people who do not understand how America have been doing the same thing over and over and over, the same thing they do to Manuel Noriega, I think was his name, the man in Panama. Okay. And the other Central American countries that they farm coups, they were behind coups and so on. Look what the Clintons would have done to Haiti, to keep Haiti unstable. Both America and France. Look at the things they would have done to all of these places. Not forgetting Gaza, the genocide in Gaza. Now they want to carry out a genocide in the Caribbean. And the puppet government in the Caribbean who's falling for it. Okay? America is like wolf in sheep clothing, entering the Caribbean talking about they're going to eliminate drugs. You know, bold-faced liars, man. I have to definitely expose them, okay? I can't agree with them. Let me just read this comment here. Someone says, greetings, BMG, which is BlackMadGuru. You are applauded for speaking on such a controversial topic with such bravery and courage. Many so-called leaders, especially there in the Caribbean and South America, will not dare. No, they won't, because you see, they are only seeing what they could get for themselves. And they're still living in survival mode. You see, when you go beyond humanity and you're no longer living in survival mode, you will come to the understanding that everything that you create in this life, it comes from your mind. It comes from within. And you will come to realize that whether you die now or you die tomorrow, there's only now. They try to make us believe that there's a difference between Monday and Tuesday. They try to make us believe that there's a difference between Wednesday and Thursday. There's no difference. It's only light and darkness. And out of the darkness comes the light. That's why you have to learn to embrace your darkness. You have to learn to embrace the dark side of yourself. And that is what many people are afraid of. Many people are afraid of the dark side of themselves. So when they're going through the dark night of the soul, they believe that the suffering is forever, but no suffering is forever. There's no hard time that will last, but people are not tough time, but people who are tough, people who are determined, people who are willing to be persistent in getting what they want in this world will always get what they want. That is why you can't be living your life in just survival mode. You can't be living your life at the level of the animals. And most of the Western leaders, many of them been educated in certain universities in the Western world, where they get their education, and where many of them were initiated, a fake initiation into their fraternities. Okay, and so they believe in keeping the masses in ignorance. But there are those of us who've been initiated the right way. That's why we are not afraid to educate the masses. We are not afraid to come out and speak, because we are not afraid of death. I normally say that because I remember when I used to be really scared for my life and be really scared of death. Any little headache, any little sickness, I used to be scared, but I realized that death is inevitable. Death and life goes hand in hand. You can't die if you never live. And you have to learn to start to embrace it. And when you start to learn to embrace that it is inevitable, it allows you to get rid of the fear. Okay? Because that's the greatest fear that most people have. And when you get rid of that fear and you start to bask in your freedom, it's the best feeling you can have. That is why sometimes people amass millions and millions of dollars, even billions, and they have to turn around and give it away to die in peace. Because death is a peaceful thing. And that is why once you have a peaceful conscience and your conscience is clear, you'll be the happiest person on this planet. I mean to say, when I hear Donald Trump calling the Afghan man an animal, I ask myself what kind of mind Donald Trump have if he have a conscience. Something happened to those kind of people. They're sick. It seems to me like the less melanin you have, something is like something wrong with you. Like you have no soul. Let me put it that way. Like these people have no soul. You could see because someone killed like the two servicemen. You call him an animal. But you blend up so much of people in boat just carrying drugs, just for drugs. As you claim. And you think it's you're right. You laughing at that. You haven't joke with that. Bill Clinton wife say, we see and we conquer. And she laugh. It becomes a joke. People's life become a joke. And then they talk about animal cruelty. These people value animals, the life of an animal more than the life of a person who doesn't look like them. That's why I always say I believe these people have some close affinity to dogs. They will want to hug up and kiss up dogs. That's why I will never mix my seed with those kind of people. It will never happen. And I will never encourage anyone who's close to me to ever mix their seed with those kind of people. They have very close affinity to dogs. And so they will talk about animal cruelty, but there's no cruelty to humanity. And then they want to censor you when you speak about, when you say free Palestine, or when you speak about the genocide in Gaza, the genocide that is taking place in Sudan, and they're behind the genocide that's taking place in Sudan, the genocide that took place in Rwanda, all of those places, they're behind all of the genocides and so on. All the atrocities that ever take place in Africa, they're behind all of it. Now they want to take Venezuela. They believe Venezuela belongs to them. Like Venezuela should be the 51st state of America. Well, I'm not gonna sit quiet. Okay. If you notice, I do not know anything about Maduro, but I know that he got in power democratically. I know that there was a voting process and he got in there democratically, just like Trump claimed to get in there democratically. And nobody is saying to overthrow him. But he wants to go there and destroy Venezuela, just like they went and destroyed Gaza. What could have done? What could have been a negotiation between Palestine and Israel for what happened after the people in Palestine suffered so much losses and so much of them were killed? What happened when they went over the border and they took some people as prisoners and so on? They turned that around as an excuse to kill so many people and destroy so much of their infrastructure because they want to widen their borders. They want to control more lands. They want more power. Something is wrong with these people. Something is terribly wrong with these people. That is why I cannot support America going to invade Venezuela. I stand with the people of Venezuela. I'm saying to the people of Venezuela, you have to be willing to fight to the death. You have to stand for your sovereignty. There's some people that don't stand for anything. That's why some people come on social media and they sell themselves short for paper. Sometimes it hurt my heart to see many melanated people on YouTube who selling themselves. And anyone with eyes to see will know that they're selling themselves. Because when you stand for principle, they're gonna shadow ban you. They might remove your channel. But when you reach a place that you don't care what they do, you know how much power that is when you don't care what they do because you do not depend on them. You know how much power that is? You know how much power that is when you could come on social media and you could speak your mind, you could speak your conscience, you don't care. Do you know how much people came up in my face any time of the pandemic in my country? You know what people call me stupid and crazy? You know, a pastor for a church said he was going to call the police because I went in the church and I ripped down the posters. Yeah, I did. Some people might say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. That is wrong. I did it. And I was able to speak to him and calm him down and tell him, okay, I'm going to print them and bring them back. I had a printer at home. I wasn't living too far from the church either. But he used to tell me how I need to be saved. He used to tell me I need Jesus. And I went there at the right time. I followed my spirit. Okay? And then in 2024, between 2024 to 2023, I was standing right in my driveway when he passed. As a pastor, you see what I was telling you about this scam? The pastor turned around and tell me he always knew it wasn't real and it was a scam. But he's lying. I guess he thought it was real, but that just proved to show you how much he's a scammer too. So when you have all these kind of people in the world, okay, that is why Trump could do whatever he pleased to do because the people are gonna say, "Oh, forgive." They use the church system to make the black man soft and to make him effeminate and to make him an idiot. They would have made black men so dumb that they put on dresses and say that is funny to laugh at them and mock them. That reminds me of the story of Samson when he lost locks. But the locks represent that power that runs up your spine. It's not 7 pieces of hair. It's not about the hair alone. That which run up to the back of your neck. When you lose that, those wheels that was there, that represent the different colors That's why I was giving the rainbow the different colors. It represent the powers. Each wheel represent the power. The power of the chakras. And they brainwash you and tell you that you mustn't believe in that. You must believe in Jesus. You must believe in a white idol. And you worshiping a white idol. You worshiping a Jewish idol. You worshiping a lie. And you live in a lie. That is why when you do that and you give your power away, all of these things will happen in the world. But the more that melanated people wake up, is the weaker these people are going to get. I am telling you that this Israel that is behind America is going to fall. It must fall. Whether in my generation or in another generation, it must and will fall. Growing up as a boy, no one could have told me that these people, what they want behind all of these things, I would never have believed them. They're behind every church program. They're behind every school system. They were behind the whole slave trade. That is why there was a war between the same Israel and Iran. And when you check the two religions and the people, these same people or the people who enslave melanated people, you have the transatlantic slave trade and you have the trans-Sahara slave trade. And so you have many other people in Islam and those in Christianity. And then when they do that, they give power to a big bad bully. At least he tell himself he's a big bad bully. So he could just go and he could overthrow other people's country and control other people's country. But I just want to remind the world that America have inches all around the world. I just want to remind people that they have inches all around the world. All around the world. In every country on this planet, they have inches. That's what I was saying that. Someone said there is info on social media that Jamaica, among other Caribbean countries, going to this tactic to drive more fear in us. One thing I can definitely tell you, and I spoke about it before, that hurricane that hit Jamaica, that wasn't a natural hurricane. And that area that damaged the most was an area they want to use to put what they call a smart city. So the investors want to come in Jamaica and invest there. I know that as a fact. That St. Elizabeth that destroys so much. They have plans for St. Elizabeth. Mark my words. You will see how they will develop there afterwards. You see, when you are in touch and you are in alignment, there are things that you will know without anyone tell you. You see, a lot of people think we're just here alone. No, we're not just here alone, man. There are other entities that want to get in touch with you, but you see, you're so much accustomed to the electricity light and all of these different lights and so on. Okay, but I'm telling you, if you would find a place where you just need a lamp, and you don't need all of these lights, and you don't need all of these electronics, you might get some visitation, because that's when I got my visitations. When there wasn't much, as a matter of fact, I was going through like the dark night of the soul. I couldn't even afford electricity. I couldn't even afford to pay my water bill. That's when I started to drink water from the earth. And then I started to get certain experiences as I started to drink the water from the earth. And then, when I couldn't afford electricity, I remember quite vividly, I used to light candles. Yeah. So, the less electronics that you're wrong, you could get more communication from those entities that want to communicate with you. Those entities that have a higher level of intelligence. Yeah. So, what has been done in Jamaica, it is something that was orchestrated to destroy that part in particular, to have further development there. There are people who have interest there, okay, and they want to make it a smart city, okay. Someone mentioned Elon Musk and Tesla. Well, Elon Musk is building something that is called I forgot the name of it. Okay, I forget. I'm trying to remember the name. Okay, but that too, that was fall. I think it's in Memphis. He's doing that. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Okay, Colossus. I think it's Colossus is the name. Okay, and anyone with common sense would know that with AI and with the race between China and Russia and America, you would realize that America right now is a weakened empire. And in order to build back their empire, they want to claim Venezuela. They have to build back their empire so they could further their technological work and AI. But I want to remind you that AI could never, ever, ever replace your inner intelligence. It can never replace your astral intelligence. It could never replace melanin. I think I would have written on a topic on that to show you. Melanin run all through your cells. And it could never replace it. I can definitely tell you that these people who are trying to back AI and support AI, I am telling you, many of them will be disappointed. Many will be disappointed. It is because they reach a point whereby they're going to lose their power. They have to reach a place where they're trying to replicate this human experience. And when they reach to that place where they're trying to replicate this human experience, it is a clear sign that they're not 100% an original. They're getting closer and closer and closer to show you their origin, where they originated from. That's why I am totally against hybridization. I am for nature. I am with nature. And I look at nature as my teacher. And I see in nature, dog and goat don't mingle together. That's why I can't mingle with the policies. I want to I can't mingle with that. I can't support that. I can't keep quiet on that. There's no money and no gift anyone can give to me for me to compromise. There's so much people on the internet saying how they're spiritual and talking about consciousness and talking about Egypt and talking about this and talking about that. They can't talk on these kind of topics. They're afraid. They achieve 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channel, fully monetized. And then they're doing interviews with certain people. You understand? When you see they start to do interview with these kind of people, you know they have to compromise. There's a video I did. I think I already posted, okay, about gift and how gift could blind you. When you start to accept certain offers, like when they came to me with the offer when I now start YouTube. You know when I now start YouTube, they come to me more than one time with certain offer. You know, just like how Cat Williams say, about 4 times he had to refuse over 50 million. Because Diddy have to get the virgin hole. Well, it wasn't to that extreme, but when you start to come and tell me what I could get on social media and what could be done, I don't read between the lines. When you want to offer me gift, I don't read between the lines what coming next. Okay, and I don't want to be living a compromised life where I am afraid to say certain things. That's why I refuse. Okay? And I tell them, get thee behind me. So, Anyone who have common sense and look at my YouTube channel, you see why they have to shadow ban or whatever. Okay? And why shadow ban a man when you could totally delete everything? Because I important. And as an important man. You want to know what's going on. They all want to hear what's going on with you. They all want to see what's going on with you. Because they know when you just talking from just head knowledge alone, just intellect. They study you. Well, look, they study the people. They know your family, they know your mother, they know so much a thing about you. Okay, so they know who to offer certain things. Okay. Someone say love to Jamaica. Someone say rest in peace, Garnet Silk. Someone say talk the things. Hi to you also, Adam. Loving the BlackMadGuru. You are a constructive brother here to free minds from ignorance. Yeah, that has always been my thing. My thing have always been to help people. You know, when I really discover myself, you know what I mean? I remember quite vividly, I asked my mother, you know, why I was at a certain age in school and I was never a child who repeat. Okay, she told me when I was younger, I never wanted to go to school. I always wanted to be under the fruit trees and gather fruits to help people, to feed people. I always wanted was to feed people and to take care of people. And I've always had that kind of mindset. I always wanted was to help people. And sometimes it get me in trouble because I always want to talk to people, I want to help people. So when I was trapped in secular Christianity, I remember working at the post office. And they called me in the office and they said, people are complaining and saying that you all want to minister to them, you all want to speak to them about God and Christianity and those, and they don't want to hear you and so on. And if you don't desist from doing that, we're going to fire you. Well, so I tell them, I say, well, I am already fired because I'm not going to stop, because if I am told that this whole thing about Christianity and so on, if I am told what I am told, if it is true, and I've been led by the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit never tell me that he ain't going to lead me when I'm at work. That's why I tell them, I say, if a man have the Spirit of God, how could the Spirit of God lead him when he's not at work? But when he at work, the Spirit not leading him. I said, something wrong with that. So all they better fire me one time. They never fire me. Okay. But when I read it, when they changed from under government and become a corporation and they didn't pay me off, okay, because they were supposed to pay off everyone and rehire who they want to rehire, and they didn't do that, then I start to be real bad. I tell them they can't change my job description and they can't tell me what to do. So I act like my own boss. And I was so serious that the other workers were saying, maybe I have something to fall back on. That way, you see the mindset of our people? Some people say, but Hanson must have something to fall back on when he leave here and so on and all of that. I had nothing else to fall back on. I just stand for principle and I just stand on business. And then the people call me one and they say, if we write you a check and we pay you for how much years you've been working here and so on, would you leave? I say, you all know that exactly what I want. You all know I have no objection to that. And I used to all then tell my co-workers, I'm the only man leaving there with an envelope, and it's true. I see men there now, the gray, the hair turn gray, this, that, still walking there, waiting for retirement. And I think retirement was about 65 now. They're waiting for retirement, getting one mega wages, working as a mail carrier, postman. And since I leave there, I was able to write all my books and so on. I've been able to have more than one businesses. And I start from zero. Because when I leave the post office, the little money they gave me couldn't even help me. I had to go back and look for work. So I was doing, sometimes I was doing all 3 jobs. Because I was doing personal training. I was doing personal training at a gym. Then I was doing training at a resort and so on. And then I was doing some training with the ministry as oaths. Yet I still couldn't make ends meet. Not until the time when I went to the man at the gym and I told him that I have a physical side and a spiritual side and I'm gonna quit my job. The man thought I was losing my mind. And I'm gonna focus on the spiritual side. Cut a long story short, that helped me to put all my books together and everything and all of that. Okay, and here, serving humanity. Okay, and speaking on behalf of the people of Venezuela and speaking on behalf of the people of Gaza and coming against genocide, coming against America being the bully of the world, coming against people like Trump and Netanyahu and these people. And I'm not afraid to speak these things because I know that I'm standing on principles and I'm standing for the truth. And I'm speaking against these non-physical entities that is influencing these people. I know it. That is why he want to turn around and call the Afghan man an animal for killing soldiers in America. When he's killing the men in the Caribbean and some little ass boat where you could just fly a helicopter and go in front of the boat, you understand, and speak to them and tell them to slow down and so on before you do anything. Give them a chance to live. Trump had children. He would not want anyone to take out his children like that. Netanyahu have family. Look. Bro, something really wrong with these people. These people try to secure their families and send other people's family to war. And bomb other people's family. Something wrong. Something wrong. Okay, someone say you and me agree. 100 British and white, but morals are the same. I've subscribed. Thank you very much for your subscription and for being true to yourself. Okay? There is evil in some religion. Man, all religion have evil because out of the evil come the good and out of the good come evil. You have to understand the polarity. Okay, don't make no one fool. That's why I'm telling people. Okay, you see, I normally say something when I get certain downloads. Okay, it has strongly been revealed to me that the Bible is actually a book of lies. Because it's a book of faith. And faith is built on lie. Because faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So until you get certain knowledge to understand out of the darkness comes the light. Out of the light comes the truth. You wouldn't understand that this wall is a wall of lies. That's why you have to lie to yourself. You want to better yourself. You want to make more money. You want to own a business. Bro, you have to become delusional. You have to become delusional. You have to be able to see $10 in your bank book. And instead of you see $10, you add chemo or FOMO zero to that. See, you see yourself having about 10,000. And you have to be that delusional to a place that you can feel it until it become real. That's how you have all of these elites in the world. How you think you have prime ministers and presidents? They become so delusional, believing that they're ruling over millions of people, that the delusion become a fact. There's no other way. Don't make no one fool you. There's no other way. They make sure they penetrate their subconscious mind morning, noon, and night being the president. That's why Obama could have said he will become president, though he was the gayest of them all. Okay? Because they always have to find a way how they have to emasculate a black man and bring a black man down. Even though he ain't even so black, he's not even black either. He mixed. He's a hybrid. Someone say you are pretty eyes. Thank you very much. Scamdemic. That's what I've been calling it since 2020. I call it a scamdemic. It's a big scam. The biggest scam that ever take place. And while the big scamdemic was taking place, there was building more and more resorts in the Caribbean islands. That's right. Right now in my country, the fishermen have a big problem with green forest, which is associated to Sandals Hotel. Sandals is putting their hotel in these countries, and then what they're doing, they're setting up the green forest thing to buy out all the fishes from the fishermen and so on, and buy it at a cheaper price, repackage it and sell it over at a higher price. And they're not paying the fishermen and them on time and so on. And so they set up all of these things to squeeze the nation of people. Because why? The governments are not providing industries that they could do their own. Someone states here, you don't have to be Jed to be Rasta. And that's a fact, because I'm a total Ras. Okay, I'm a total Ras. Most people do not know who is a Ras. Okay? And most people never experience what it means to be a Ras. A Ras. To become a Ras is an inner initiation. It has nothing to do with hair on your face and hair on your head, and whether you're eating pork or you're not eating pork, or whether you're eating flesh or you're not eating flesh and all of that. Yeah, whether you're smoking weed or you're smoking weed, it has nothing to do with that. That's why just now you see me coming with the next level. The next level Rastafari. Tafari wasn't broke and he wasn't poor. Okay? That's another subject for another time. Okay? So yeah, the people of Venezuela have a right to live as a sovereign country and to have their democratic elections. Okay? That is my point. And that's why I cannot support America invading Venezuela. That's my whole point. I'm against America invading Venezuela, and I could see that they want to carry out a genocide just like what they did in Gaza. Okay? They're trying to repeat what they did in Gaza. They're trying to repeat what they would have done to people like Gaddafi in Libya, what they would have done to Syria, what they would have done to Africa and around the world. Someone says here, it's not about race. It's always about race. Don't make nobody fool you. You have a passport? What does your passport say? Bro, I hate when people talk this kind of foolishness, but it's not about race. It's always about race. You have all different kind of race. Yeah, AI, right now is the AI race. They try to tell you we are all the human race. But being human is just having an experience. A spirit. Okay, a spirit. So this thing about, oh, there's only one race and so on, it's not true. You have so much different animals, and the diet are different. And they don't mate with each other, but they are all animals. Okay? So we are having an experience on this planet. But to be honest with you, you can have people here who are soulless, who don't have no soul. Because once that solar system inside of you is awakened, you would see what is going on in the world. You would see these fake Jews and fake Israelites as a melanated person. And you would no longer believe in secular Christianity, the point you need to look outwardly. You never believe in the Jesus and Mary story that they give you as literal and as secular history, as events that happened thousands of years ago. You know it's things that happen in the mind all the time. So when people say it's not about race, of course it's all about race. Do you know the power of melanin? If you understand that melanin, I normally refer to melanin as a fluid. Okay, an invisible fluid. You know, the more melanin you have is the more you could activate that invisible fluid to become invisible. Do you know you could become invisible in your dreams? And do you know that you could have an experience and experience yourself as being invisible, as one with the wind? So I know what you're talking about. People have dreams that they're flying and so on, but not much people could appear and disappear in their dream. I could appear and disappear in my dream. And I had an experience where I was between conscious and unconscious world. You understand? And I changed from mortal into immortality. Experience my immortal self. That's why I ain't afraid of death. Because I experienced death while I'm still here. speaking to you. Someone says about humanity and peace. You can't have peace without war. Don't make nobody fool you. So that's why I'm telling you, when you understand to play the game of polarity, when you understand the game of polarity, right, you will understand, right, what I am really saying is that these pale people, these pale-skinned people, they have to do what they're doing. There's nothing you could say or do that are going to stop them. They have to do it. It's in their nature. A goat would be a goat. A sheep would be a sheep. You could take a pig out of the mud. You can't take the mud out of the pig. These people always love animals like dog. Because it's their nature. It's in their nature. We would be the people that we are so close to nature because that's our nature too. So I'm not angry with nobody. I'm not against nobody. I have no hatred. I have no envy. Look, so much Caucasian people walking up in my country right now. Tourist shipping. I just understand their nature and understand my nature. They study us, but we're not studying them. That's the problem. You can't have ice people and don't have sun people. You can't have sun people and don't have ice people. You can't have people who very close affinity to a beast, an animal. And you have people who are more further away. This body here is animalistic body, but they're more closer. That's why they carry a certain smell, and we carry a certain smell. I know their smell, as I tell you in the other video. I can smell this from distance away, but I can't stand the smell. So I don't know how some melanated man is made with those kind of women, because when you're having sex and things, you're sweating and things. I can't stand that smell. The first time I experienced that smell is when I was walking by the resort and I used to walk by the gym, and when I deal with these people and they sweat. I never used to like the smell. I can't stand the smell. Okay? Someone say, inspirational, my brother, proud to have you representing the people. Thank you very much. Okay, you wouldn't find much people like me in the Caribbean. Right now, you find most people like in the Caribbean in church. Most people in church right now. Okay, someone say black people were the origin of Israel. Black people is the original all around. You know how proud I be when I look at the earth? I always look at the earth, you know, the soil. I always look at the soil and I smile. Watch, as big and bad as Trump behaving in America with all of the tanks and all of the sophisticated weapons and all of that, the earth that I get food from is not white, it's not pale. You know the earth ain't pale. And you know what they did in my country, down in Sandals, where they have the hotel? It was black sand from the volcano. You know they do? They go and they bring white sand and throw the white sand over the black sand. And a bunch of people, they only walk in, slaving themselves. Because they don't understand money and how to attract money. Because why? Their belief system, the school system, the religious system, and the parents. And they turn around and they tell you, I'm a crazy man. But I know black people original. I know black people original. I know that a Messiah is a self-realized black man. Every self-realized black man is a Messiah. He's a savior. He comes to save himself and save the people. If the people would listen. I'm afraid to say that. People, more melanated people need to have pictures of the messiahs. Right now, I am here speaking to you. Get the picture. You got a picture of Malcolm X. You got a picture of all of those people. You got a picture of Marcus Garvey. You got a picture of different people. Nothing wrong with those fellas who are picture Haile Selassie, but if they believe he's God, well, too bad for them. But if they see him as an ancestor and they see what he stood for in trying to bring Africa together and to preserve an empire that defeat Europeans in the Battle of Adwa and so on. If you see him from that standpoint, fine. But you have to have your ancestors all around you. Even if you have a picture of Michael Jackson in your house, nothing wrong with that. It's better to have a picture of Michael Jackson in your house than to have a picture of pale Jesus, white Jesus, some Jewish boy they tell you about, which is a lie. Anytime you start to dwell in your monkey mind, you don't want to calm your mind down, you don't meditate, you don't visualize, you don't do these things, you live it, that when you be a monkey. So, I could show you all kind of monkey. Monkey come in all colors and in all shade. And in all races too. You have monkey. When it comes to the jungle, it's talking about is your mind. You see, a physical jungle represent your mind. Your mind is a jungle too. Okay? So, and your relatives have to do with your thoughts in your mind too. Okay? So when people throw shades and comment and all of these things, I could deal with any comment. That's why I don't delete comments. Okay? Someone talk about the weather modification concerning with the hurricane in Jamaica. Yes, they can manipulate the weather. Okay, what do you look for in a... I don't know who they asking that question. Okay. But when choosing any mate, you have to know what you're looking for. You have to know the qualities that you're looking for. For example, if you're a melanated man and you're looking for a woman, you have to look for a woman who understands leadership and who can follow leadership. A woman who know herself. A woman who have emotional intelligence too. Okay, a woman who's not religious. Okay, a woman who's more spiritual and so on. A woman who's teachable. A woman who's willing to learn and grow. Okay, so these are some qualifications you have to look for. And on the other side, the woman have to know, she have to look for a leader, she have to look for a protector, she have to look for a provider, she have to look for intelligence. Okay, she have to look for emotional intelligence too. She have to look for one who would support her, build her, and all of that. Okay, you have to know what you're looking for. Okay. So I can answer any question anybody asks here. Okay. Someone answer him, they say, Chickle Chuck, you should know that only a foolish dog barks at a flying bird. Okay? Please stick around. You may yet be redeemed. Yeah, you may learn something. Okay? So, as I was saying, that Trump is proving that right now America is a weakened empire and it needs to strengthen itself, and the only thing they can do is conquer because it's in their blood. They are like animals. They're violent. They live in a dog eat dog world. They still live in a dog eat dog world. They're still uncivilized. You think these people are civilized? These people are still uncivilized. These people are still uncivilized. We live in a world where there's more than enough for everyone. But they set certain system in place out of greed. This person, I guess, as usual, they will all be told, right? Do you love on men, right? People who come and the comment section and make these comments. Okay, let me educate you. Okay, do you realize that these pale-skinned people used to take melanated men in the time of slavery and perform these kind of acts on them just to show you how vile and how uncivilized these people are. They definitely came from the cave. Only cavemen does behave like that. And when you find melanated people who gay and all of these things, is a disease they pick up from these people. Someone says to him that he's on the wrong side. Yeah, we deal with awareness and consciousness. Okay. But it's always important to have them to come on to show how they think. Because that's who they are. Okay. These people a practice we call buck breaking. And they're still doing it in a systematic way. Why you think these comedian guys who go and act movies and so on had to end up and put on Jess? What is the guy name again? I'm trying to remember his name. Some of them name. They put on Jess. It's the same buck breaking thing going on. Those in Hollywood. Some of these people in Hollywood that people follow, okay, and that you call them celebrity. If you listen like an interview with them and you know where they come from, you see why they target them. I heard Kevin Hart. I saw Kevin Hart on an interview with a guy who diary of a CEO. And an interview and the things that he was saying, that when I look, I say, okay, that's where man come from. That's why these kind of people are willing to sell themselves short. They will sit there and put on dress, and then afterwards you see them wearing dress. When you really see where they come from, when you grew up with the mother, with stepfather, whoever, male as a drunkard and all of this kind of thing happening in the home and so on. That's why they know who they just choose. Okay. We woke up this morning, have the best day you can have. Tomorrow, not promise to no one. Thank you, one love. Yeah, there's only now. Okay. Someone states here that Jesus is king. I hope they know that Jesus is the self, the flesh man, your body. Okay. That it just mean a man. Okay. A man who finds himself. A man who awakes. A man who experiences the resurrection. Okay. Of himself. A man who awake from the dream of life. Okay. Someone says here, hi to you, to Elliot. Someone say gratitude for the wisdom, peace, and love. Okay, gratitude for you to you too for tuning in. Okay, it's hour and 17 minutes since I've been speaking, so I'm definitely gonna come down to a close here. But my main message is that I am against America ever invading Venezuela, and I will encourage people all around the world to protest whichever way they choose to protest, because America have inches all around the world. Okay, they say if you live in a glass house, you mustn't throw stone, and whatsoever you sow, that also shall you reap. Not until people come out plain and start to speak to the world, to tell the world you have to resist America. You have to resist America all around the world. They have inches all around the world. They have hotels all around the world. They have businesses all around the world. They have their own people living all around the world. If they want to cause terror on this planet, we could cause terror too. And not until people are willing to stand up to America and let America know, look, you can't just go and invade other people's countries, sir. And your people all around the world continue having business as usual. You know, they want to call you a terrorist. They want to call you this when you stand up and speak up the truth. Like, for example, a woman, the president of Trinidad and Tobago, she back in America to go and invade Venezuela, and a woman take a picture of one of her home and post it and tell them where she live and so on, and people trying to say, oh, you shouldn't do that. They want to lock her up and so on. But remember, all the people who join the armed forces and all the people who join the police forces around the world, remember, it's some boy or some girl who went to school with you, who play with you, whether they play netball with you or they play soccer with you or they play cricket with you. Those people went to school with you just the same. Just mean they've been brainwashed. And they have allowed themselves to become controlled by money. And instead of they be the master of money, they allow money to master them because they fail to realize that they're born in this world with a gift. They're born in this world with a certain talent. They fail to realize that they're born in this world with certain mental faculties that must be used. Yes, I was looking for Tyler Perry and Martin Lawrence and Jamie Foxx too. And these other men who put on dress. And I don't know how people does live up that. Anytime I see Denzel Washington, he hurt my spirit. I can't stand Denzel Washington. There's something about Denzel Washington. I don't know when people people in America going to realize it, but something about I can't stand. I just can't stand that guy. I won't even watch a movie with that guy. I remember I watched Dan Q when the little boy wanted a kidney transplant and so on, and he was to be a bodybuilder. At the end in that movie, he turned around and tell his son, don't be like he's a loser. That's the script they write for him in Hollywood. You have to say that. Then the last Gladiator day, he looks so wrong, he looks so out of place, he looks so stupid. It's a mockery. Bro, when your eyes open, you see the mockery and black people, When your eyes open, you see the entire story you read in the Bible, you see as black people. It's about you. And some asshole talk about Jesus King. You think Kanye West stupid and talk about Jesus King. Kanye West, no we talking about. Kanye West will tell you that money ain't real. The people have millions and billions. They know money ain't real. You think money real? You think this freaking wall ain't real? You think this wall ain't really real? It's not real. Your consciousness is that which is real. That's the only thing that is real. That's why you have to find your real self and align to your real self. And when you align to your real self, you must align closer to nature. You start to understand the importance of nature. You see how far these people are away from nature. That's why you understand their behavior. So this whole video here that I'm doing, as someone was talking about race and so on, right? Let nobody fool you. Once you have a passport, you in travel, your race there. You have an ID card, your race, everything there. Okay? And that's how you'll be seen. You, as a melanated person, you'll be seen a certain way. It doesn't matter where part of the world you go, or how much money you have. And that is why you have to see them a certain way too. You have to see them a certain way too. Because they have a certain nature. The pale man have a certain nature. And you can't change it. Don't make nobody fool you. You can't change it. They can't change. And you can't change either, You can't change either. You have to understand the polarity. And you have to start to learn to embrace darkness. Yeah. Because out of the darkness comes the light. You have to start to understand whatever suffering you're going through. You have to see the light at the tunnel. You have to know that these things is to build you and to make you stronger. So you can believe in yourself. Don't care how sick I get, I'm not going to pray to no Jesus. Me going to call on no God outside of myself. I'd rather die because I know that there is no God on the outside. Everything exists in my consciousness. There's no experience no one on this planet ever had that is outside of their consciousness. All the religious idiots who say, oh, I dream about Jesus, I dream about hell, I dream about heaven. It takes place in your consciousness. It takes place in your awareness. If you can't see, you can't taste, you can't touch, you can't smell or anything like that, you're not aware. Wait, who are you? You're dead. Which means you're in a different dimension. Your consciousness move on into another dimension and you call that death. I'm an eternal being and nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can fool me anymore. Okay? So, my brother, my sisters, someone here said, please leave the bush. I know you are a bushman. But of course I'm a bushman. Do you realize that the green chlorophyll from the plants is the closest thing to the blood? Realize that? You realize when a man awake, he don't carry around shame and guilt and judgment and condemnation, and he don't. There's no such a thing as an insult. anything anybody said to me on the internet, I know how to reverse that. People can't hurt my feeling by words. No, too powerful. Now when you wake up, when you become Christ in flesh, When you become Christ in flesh, bro, there's nothing no one could do. Not even death. You're not even death you're afraid of. Why you think they're so afraid of melanated people ever becoming Christ in flesh? People waking up. Why you think people come on and make all these kind of comments? Because why? I'm making them weak. The more stronger you become as a melanated person, the pale man become more weaker, you know. And the weaker you become, the more stronger you become, you know. But if you understand the polarity, you will say to yourself, if I was them, I would have behaved the same way. If I was a pale man, I would have do the same thing. Man, I would have be a Billy Graham. I would have be a Billy Graham. Why do you think they uphold Billy Graham? So Billy Graham did a good work upon melanated people, no? But he preaching like so-called gospel, no, man. Billy Graham really cast a spell, no? Man, if I continue, I go whole day. Billy Graham really cast a spell, no? You know how much Billy Graham went for them? You know how much battle he went for them by doing that? You know how much Billy Graham was a snake in the grass? A wolf? A sheep clothing? Someone commented, oh, you need Jesus. Telling me I need myself. You need Jesus Christ. I need myself, or I'm going to need myself when I find myself. But you give me a joke. I like people like you. Make some comment, man. Make some comment. You keep the chat interested. Make some comment. What else I need? What else I need? How Christ gonna need Christ? Can't stop that boy. Can't stop that boy. Pale boy, you can't stop that. You can't stop when a black Christ arise, you can't stop him. Somebody say my perspective. I believe. I like the eye. I like the eye you put there. I believe the divine can exist both beyond us and within us. Of course, because once the divine is in you, it gonna reflect. It gonna reflect. This whole mass universe that you see is a mirror. Everything is a mirror itself. So when you see these pale skin people behaving like how they're behaving, it's a mirroring of who they be. Everyone's journey is personal. Of course, everyone's journey is personal. But why your journey is like? It's important for you to know what your journey is like. Does your journey entails a pale Jesus? Does your journey entails a man from the sky? Does your journey entails supporting Trump going and invade Venezuela because that's and for the atrocities that was done in Gaza? Because those strain little bit are coming back every now and then back to the topic, because that's my main thing. The genocide in Gaza and the genocide they want to carry out in the Caribbean, and they want to use Venezuela because they realize they're mystical men and women raising up in the Caribbean. So they're finding a way for getting the Caribbean. That's why they want to get rid of some of the governments in the Caribbean to set up other governments so they could easily come in. Somebody say you are a witch and a warlock, a servant to a petty demon. Your little powers can do shit. Okay. You have to be exactly that to recognize that. You have to be a witch and a warlock to recognize one just like you. Okay? And what is a demon? I'd like somebody to tell me what is a demon. Yeah? You see, it's someone who don't understand the thoughts. Let me explain for you thoughts. Okay, I'll show you what this person is trying to say. Okay? And you could tell I'm touching somewhere inside of him, or whoever they are. Okay? Because they They are so weak that they could only hide behind whether they're using a cell phone or a computer. But they will never challenge me and show themselves on a Zoom call or anything that I will post on my channel. They will never do that. Okay? Now, let me explain to you a demon. Everything had to do with thought form. Everything in this world it was first a thought, it was first an idea, it had to be first imagined. Every personality, every behavior, every action is a manifestation of a thought. So a demon is a fallen thought, one that keeps you in your lower self. So because they've been keeping most melanated people in their lower self, when I speak, I am exposing the demon. I am exposing the lower self. Because they have to be in their lower self. So when I display my higher self, he have to display his lower self. It's a must, a polarity. You have to understand. What do I think I can't vex? You call me a demon, I laughing. Because why? Once you as a black man, a melanated man, live in your higher self, they have to display their lower self. It's a must. And once you live in your lower self, they will display their higher self in the materialistic realm. Because that's the farthest they could go. That's the farthest you could go. Here we say you can use your witchcraft to eat rats. Wait, what is witchcraft? You know, witchcraft means a wisecraft. It means one who understands wisdom and could use his wisdom to bend reality to his will. That's witchcraft, you know. Witchcraft ain't had nothing to do with what they want you to think, you know. You know, these people have been using certain craft on the masses for so much years. You know, the church is where they use. This whole Jesus thing is where they're using. And when you come and you start to embarrass them, you know, by exposing them, you know what has happened? It's brought the other side of them. But it's just polarity. That's all I'm saying. The left opposite. The light have to always show the darkness. Or it's only light could expose the darkness. Somebody say, rest in peace. Rest in peace, my Christians in Sudan, for a white English atheist. These people in Sudan, okay, and what they're facing in Sudan is the same pale man behind the whole thing. And what they do, they push you to one extreme with Christianity and they push you to the next extreme with Islam. Them is the two people who enslave black people, as I said before, melanated people, transatlantic and the trans-Sahara slave trade. They used to even castrate melanated men in the trans-Sahara slave trade. And don't bother with these people saying they're atheists and so on, right? An atheist is the person who goes to church and believes in Jesus. That's the atheist. Don't let them trick you. The English language is a two-edged sword. It's a coded language. That's why all of the prime ministers, like in the Caribbean, they just repeat when they're swearing and they must say, so help me God. And then I realize that way they must say. That's why I spoke about the place in my country where the very rich man, they put up the thing that says, in God we trust, and he put all the people in the Hall of Fame, with all the people who make contribution. And since I spoke about it, they move it. Just like when I exposed Neville Goddard, and since I went up in the building, I showed you father picture of Joseph Goddard and the mission statement. And I did a live earlier today, sir. So you could check out my next channel and make it make sense. So I exposed Neville Goddard, show all the business they had since in the early 1900s. And he say meet Abdullah in 1933, which is a lie, which I always know was a lie. I used to always go by Goddards and Sons since I was a little boy growing up. Goddards and Sons. They'd celebrate 100 and, well, when they celebrate 100 and, years, it was about maybe a year or two ago. So it's about between 101 to 102 years since they're in the island. And there's a pattern throughout the entire islands of the Caribbean with all of these light-skinned people who is already big business owners and so on, and who's in the ruling class. Yeah, the pattern ain't there by mistake. Not until our people start to reject this Jesus and this church thing, and they start to wake up, then we can start to take back what belongs to us. Somebody say, I'm glad you're still here, my brother. It's been a while since we have spoken. Thank you very much. Okay, my brother. Universal Flow, yes, it's been a while. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in. Someone say, where you're from? I'm from the invisible. And when I go back to the invisible. But I'm living in the Caribbean. Okay, I'm living in the Caribbean. And Trump want to take over the Caribbean and want to do just like what they did in Gaza. So from Gaza to the Caribbean, they're going to carry out genocide in Gaza. Wicked people. Someone says a demon is anything that pulls you away from your higher self. Exactly. And that is what the pale man been doing. For hundreds of years they've been doing that. But the time coming to an end. I know the time coming to an end. He who knows not and knows not, he knows not. He is a fool. Shun him. Someone say, teacher, my brother. Okay. Someone say, yes, Jen. Okay, I'll read these last comment, then I'll definitely come to a close. My dad has Mali tattoos on the line of Zion. He's white. Mali was white too. I normally, someone always talk about Bob Marley. Bob Marley was a hybrid. People try to put Bob Marley up there. Bob Marley may have gotten all of those teachings from his white father. Okay. Bob Marley was a hybrid. He wasn't 100% thoroughbred. You understand? So Marley and people like to talk about Marley and so on. You know what I mean? Instead of talking about Marcus Garvey. Okay? So, someone asked me if I live in Arima. No, I ain't live in Arima. Arima, I traveled to Arima many times already. That is in Trinidad, but I'm not in Arima. Okay, I doesn't live in Trinidad. I come in there just now. Walk with the bag. Yeah, okay. So I'm not living in Trinidad, but all in all, okay, I want to say that the people in Venezuela have a right to defend the country, and they should make Simon Bolivar proud. The Bolivarian people must stand for what their ancestors stood for and fight to the death. Do not make Trump come in and take over your country. And if Trump ever get into Venezuela, let those people live in horror, just like what happened in Afghanistan. Target Americans all over the world, wherever they have assets. Man, we have to put a stop into it. Somebody have to stand up. Yes, and somebody reminded you, start talking about Bob Marley, talk about Peter Tosh and Jimmy Cliff and Bonnie Whale and these kind of people. And so some of these, I can't remember which one of them was a part of the Whalers student, and they push you out and promote Marley. But I don't want to get into something right now. I want to talk about the people of Venezuela and their sovereign right and how they must stand up against America. And I'm encouraging, if Trump mess with the Caribbean, man, I encouraging people all over the Caribbean, all over the world, do things. I don't have to tell you, there are inches all over the place. America inches all over the place. There are businesses all over. All over. So, my brother and my sisters, I really, really, really want to thank you all very much for tuning in and for standing with me. Because what is happening in this world, we need people who would stand up and be true and be real You can't call someone an animal for killing 2 white men or shooting 2 white men. After you brought a man brought him from Afghanistan and you blowing up all the boats in the Caribbean and killing people, children. And you mustn't answer to that. Just recently they take a man from some part in Africa and kill him. A man who was some president or something like that. Can't remember his name. For crimes against humanity. Trump should be held for crimes against humanity. The Clintons too, for what they done in Haiti. So that's why I would always be the kind of person that goes shadow ban on YouTube. And I don't care. I do not care. As a matter of fact, those who run on YouTube want to shadow ban, I have a finger for you, man. A middle finger. Because I don't care. I don't depend on a check from YouTube to survive. I took whatever little I had and I make sure I have businesses to survive and take care of myself and take care of my children. So I don't care. But I will not leave this earth and die as a coward or die as a fool. Since I was a little boy, growing up, I used to tell my aunt that. And that's why I would stand up. Okay? Doesn't matter why it calls me. And speak the truth. I'll never support Trump. I'll never support the invasion of Venezuela. But you know what? That's the nature. But you have to learn to understand your nature and their nature and live in your nature. Okay? That's the most important thing that I'm sharing with the people who listen to me. Understand you can't change the white man. You couldn't, look, let me say this before I come to a close. You can't change the pale man. Don't try to change the pale man. Don't negotiate with the pale man. Don't think you'll ever be one with the pale man. Don't ever think you'll be embraced by the pale man. Don't ever think you'll be loved by the pale man. I can't pretend. I can't. It's impossible for me to pretend. I can't be the people. I can't be their friend. Them is my enemy. They are my enemy. They are my enemy. Someone said, let's have a rap battle. I don't believe in rappers. Okay, let me take up my bag. Okay, let me take up my bag and start to make the movement towards my car. Okay, I don't believe in rapping. Rapping is something they used to destroy black people. There used to be positive rappers. You understand? And they get rid of the positive rappers, and now the fake Jews and them, they own all of the record label, and they find some careless, deprived, melanated man who come from some deranged family background, and they make him a rapper. And then the people too, now they give them money now to the rappers and them who talking shit. But rap battle. Battle of the mind. That's the only battle I in. Okay, because that's where the battle is. It's your mind. It's the battle for your mind. That's the only place where the battle is. The greatest battle is the battle of the polarity. Yeah. Understanding the difference between you and them. Nobody ain't fool me. And talk about, oh, we are all human, there's only one race. That's bullshit. It will always be bullshit. People feel to call out and say, there's the enemy, that's the enemy. The PSK man is the enemy. It would always be enemy. They never forget Haiti. They never forget Jamaica. You think they love people in Jamaica? You think they really love Jamaica? Anyway that they were resisted. They don't like those countries, you know. Don't make nobody fool you. Like for example, my country, they give them a fake hero, national hero. And then they want to tell them, the real man down here was a mistake. Think I'm stupid? My country and Jamaica, we share a bloodline together. That's what most people don't know. We share a bloodline together. And the fully people talk about Gary Funa people and telling them about Honduras and all that kind of foolishness there. It's foolishness. We share a certain bloodline. That's why even in Jamaica, they are fake maroon leader too, you know. Yo, me don't back down for talking truth, you know. Some boy who go university and go some college and come say he maroon leader. Watch a joke. At the Villa Maroon Church, believe in white Jesus. That's a joke. Big one too. Somebody say, nah, rap is not bad. It's just a different kind of music. Most gangster rap is not good for black people. Okay? And as I said before, the people that behind the record label is those fake Jews. Okay? And that's the truth. And nothing new under the sun too. As what my brother commented. That's why the slave trade never end. It's just in a more systematic way. You have preachers and politicians and so on, they carrying on the freaking trade. I had the free people who have all been free. People like myself who speaking to you, we are the ones who always resist slavery. We all been free. So when people going back and talking about like Toussaint Louverture and Dessalines in Haiti and all of these kind of people and so on, and Cujo and so on. When I speak about these people, I see them in the past, you know. I see in states of consciousness, I see in state of mind that lives, that continues. And here and there you see men rising up. There's a man in Haiti, they try to give him a bad name, you know, a man named Barbecue. And see how the man has born people and all kinds. The man don't do nothing like that. The man just want to help the poorer class of people and stand for the poorer class of the people because the man understand the history, the ancestors, and the man realize that America and France and Israel, all of them is behind keeping Haiti unstable and so on, and putting guns in the man's hand and fractionize them and so on. Take out Moise because he didn't stand for this COVID pandemic bullshit and so on. Just like the same thing they do in Tanzania to Magufuli. So my brother, my sister, this whole invasion thing with America want to take over Venezuela, okay, it's more than what you think. It's not just about Maduro and about drugs, okay. They have to always rule and conquer, so they have to always be strengthening the empire. They have to always be strengthening the empire. You think going to become the Caribbean if people don't speak up. So we are going to sit down and watch them go and invade and do whatever they please. And then they run hotels as usual and they do this as usual. And the people come down here as usual and all of that. Nah, you could call me an instigator. They could put me in jail. They could do whatever. I telling people, you have to resist these things. You have to stand up and do something. You have to do something. Don't make no government fool and tell you that your country can survive without tourism. You don't have to have no tourists coming in your country. You don't have to. And sometimes these people come down here and the tourists, they're broke too. Of course, the rabbit hole go deeper than what they're saying. This rabbit hole is going deeper. It's all about oppression. It's all about conquering. Okay, it's all about it has all been about conquering. Okay, I walking down to go to my car because by the time I reach by my car, I might finish this life. Okay, it's all about conquer. The conquistadors, they call them. They're still conquering. That's what I tell. As my brother said, there's nothing new under the sun. When you wake up and you realize that there's nothing new under the sun, you know, you start to see when NATO really be, you know. You only start to see NATO and when NATO is all about. You think Putin was stupid when he go and invade Ukraine? Because they want to do something in the backyard. And then now you have a puppet woman in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. Just allow America for take it backyard. And that's something that repeats itself that happen again, you know. It happened already before I even born. That's why Calypso in Trinidad, they sing a song, Gina and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina. If you catch them broken, you get them all for nothing. You see the Yankee gone, that when the Yankee wet bank. And now the Sparrow going to take over now because they've been training themselves at the Yankees. So this night first time they went back to the same place in Chaguaramas Day, I think. Somewhere, and right now they're building up some radar in Tobago to go and attack Maduro, just like what they did to Noriega in Panama. And then they will control the canal. Somebody say we can talk, but nothing gonna change. Things could change if people decide to do certain things. Don't make nobody fool you. For example, right? For example, What happened in America with the man from Afghanistan taking out two servicemen? If another person from another country that they oppress do the same thing, and another person from another country do the same thing, and another person do the same thing, and another person do the same thing, what you gonna do? You gonna deport? What Trump gonna do? You gonna look for all of the immigrants from all of those countries and deport them? Man, people just talk a lot of shit. Just like how one man could sit in an office and by speaking, he get men in the armed forces to go and do certain things. The same way we could speak to and make a change too. You telling me, just like how we could walk into Venezuela and want to take Venezuela oil. You understand? You telling me that people can hamper their inches? They have inches all around the world. You tell me people can hamper their inches? People can hamper their inches. It's just that people have to unite, because everything is built and divide and conquer. So once people remain divided, they'll all be conquered. Okay? They'll all be conquered once you remain divided. Okay? That is why the greatest possession is the possession of your mind. Once you take possession of your mind and you understand that this world you're living here in, okay, that this world is an illusion. So you're living in a world of lie. Okay, so if you want truth, you have to tell yourself a lie. If you want to become a millionaire, you have to tell yourself you're already a millionaire until it happens. You're going to transmute that energy into that which is real, but it's going to come to you by ideas. So when the ideas come to you, the ideas are coming to you from the real world. That's why in this world you have to tell strictly lies. You have to tell yourself lies, become delusional, so that you will be able to impress your subconscious mind. You see, most people have no concept of the subconscious mind, which is the true self, the invisible self. So once you speak to your invisible self and you get in touch with your invisible self and you live from your invisible self, you start to live from inside out. You can get anything you want in this world. Anything at all that you want in this world, it will come to you. Okay? So to say nothing gonna change, it means that this person is saying that nothing could change in their life. But you could change your life by what? The renewing of your mind. Reconstruction of your mind. You have to always reconstruct your mind. So basically, you have a rich man, you have a poor man, you have a beggar man, you have a thief. It's one mind. But different arrangement are the same mind. Look, what I was just saying a while ago, right where I'm standing here right now, if you look behind me right here, right? You see some, let me see if you could, you see some Caucasian people going up there. I don't know if you see them. Some Caucasian people way back up there, so right? These people a while ago when I was above you speaking, the woman was here rubbing down a dog, a stray dog. In my country, people don't even play. The people who have those dogs don't even play with them. They don't hug them up. They don't. Sometimes they kick them and do them. And because they never smell good. These dogs will go and they rub up in dead things and so on, like a crapper dead and so on. A frog. Frog is what we call a crapper, okay? They rub up in a dead frog. And she was here rubbing down a dog. I didn't want to say anything when I was close to them because I didn't know. My thing is not trying to hurt people feeling. I'm going to tell you, these people have some sort of close affinity to dogs. So though this body that we have is animal, they are more closer to the animal side. That's why they don't put much, you see Trump not putting much value on people's life when he blow them up in these boats. Someone say a true millionaire is one at peace. Money is just a tool. Yes, that is true. Okay, but if you have a desire, because for example, right, if you be honest with yourself, right, the more influence you have in this world, people would listen to you. And because money give you more options, okay, it can help you to do a lot of things. There's a lot of things that the money can help you do to rich people, okay, and it do not have to be in a way to enlighten them at first, okay. It could just be a way to help them to achieve their goals through the things they love to do, okay. And then when you get their attention from there, then you could take them to another level, okay. But it definitely do helps, okay. But for example, if you like to have attract $1 million in your life and you keep saying it over and over and believe it and feel it, you have to feel it. If you ain't feel it, you see, once you see, if you do not realize the polarity of lie and truth, if you don't understand that, you see what they do, they play with your conscience so much as a melanated person or a black person that you don't think you're telling a lie. when the pale man always lying, you understand? Because he understands the concept of polarity. Bro, you have to lie to yourself until it manifests. They say, for example, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about. They tell you God said, let there be, and there was. It's a lie telling you, they're telling you that God is a liar. That's what they're telling you, bro. But if people really get this thing, you will really get it. I try to put certain things in a book where I'm talking here that people can really read and get it. People will tell you, oh, they have faith. But they don't admit that they have to be a good liar. You have to be a good liar that you're telling a lie, but you can't believe it's a lie. Because your subconscious mind doesn't know a lie from a truth or whatever you call truth. Get it? Your subconscious mind is just like the earth. Whatever you sow in this earth will bring back whatever you sow in it. And then, my brother, with all due respect, this pure heart. What is a pure heart? A pure heart is balance. You understand polarity. It don't go to no extreme. That's a pure heart. A pure heart and must understand and master. You see the law of polarity. Once you master the law of polarity, you understand what is going on in America. You understand what is going on in the world, and we continue and will ever be. And you want to help your generation by starting now. So say 3-4 generations from now, your family will be at a certain place. You see, wealth and all of these things not for you. The knowledge that we are getting is not for us either. People get caught up with all of these things. It's not for us. It's for the generations and the generations. Believe you me, that's when these pale skin people get together, we think they'll talk about the latest movie. I get it from a good source. They'll be talking about the ancestors. The things that we have to pass down. For example, all of the leading families in my country that own all of these massive businesses. Okay? I may not, I'm just putting it this way, I may not own as big as them now, but my generation later will even come and bypass them because they're going to take back everything. And make sure leave things for them in terms of information. Somebody say, what is the symbolic meaning of Revelation 5 and 6? You should quote Revelation 5 and 6. Okay. If you would have quoted Revelation 5 and 6, well then I could elaborate. Someone say a pure heart is without hidden motives. No, everything have some hidden motive. You have to have a hidden motive. Don't make nobody fool you. These are languages that we learn from our parents. We have to have motive. Bro, it doesn't make no sense. I hate talking to you and I don't have something probably to sell you anything like that. It's just the truth. People just have to face the truth. You think someone will be on YouTube, okay, and they don't have some service to offer to you? It don't make sense. On social media, and they don't have some service to offer to you. They must. You must have some motive to it. So if my motive is to empower our people with knowledge, I have to empower them with knowledge on one side, while on the other side, I have to have certain other things to empower them with too, because some people only can believe based on what they see. So if my life is not moving, if my life is not expanding, if they not see a difference in my life, they wouldn't take note of what I'm saying. So you have to understand these things. There must all be some hidden motive in whatever you're doing. Let me tell you something, my brothers and my sisters. Never go to a 9-to-5 job to earn. Never work to earn. Always work to learn. If you go to a business to work and you're not learning, you've been stupid. You're going there to learn, not to earn. That's a big mistake our people be making. Going to a job to earn. You're going there to learn. When I was working at the post office, I was learning. That's why I was willing to leave. I measure myself. I say, how far I go as a postman? To a senior postman, then an inspector, and I start to learn how much a senior postman does make, how much an inspector does make. No, learn. Then I start to study how much the people working up in the account section does make, how much the director at the post office or the postmaster general and so on, how much it does make and so on. I was there. I just wanted was to learn, and I measure myself. I say, look, if I leave the post office, this could happen, that could happen. I could end up homeless. I measure it. And I see the pros and the cons. And I say, you know what, I'll take the risk. Because if I win, this is what could happen. I could make more than what the Postmaster General is making if I leave. So you always have to have a hidden motive in whatever you do in this life. But the hidden motive must always be to expand yourself and others. Must have a hidden motive. Someone say that which you are saying is exactly how soldiers and spies are trained. You must believe your lies. It's definitely true. Everything I'm telling you here, okay, I am telling you, okay, that I realize that this wall is the wall of lie, and the invisible wall is the wall of truth. So if you want to read from the wall of truth, you have to accept that you live in the wall of lie, and you have to live in the wall of lies like you're living in the wall of lies. Too many preachers fool you. So you have to tell lie in the wall of lie. The Bible is a book of lies. It starts with a lie. Out of the darkness come the light. It say God say let there be, which means there was nothing. And then something. Come on. I'm not going to waste my strength trying to teach people just to give them a big head. No, I'm teaching you to equip you, that you may equip me also. That's why I put tools in place. I remember, let me say this, when I started to do YouTube, right, I started telling people I've written a book named such and such, and I was telling that I did written the book, but it was in notebooks. So when I start telling people on YouTube, when I start YouTube, I've written a book named such and such and such and such, and I keep saying it. I've written a book named such and such and such and such. People start to ask me, so where is the book? Where can I find the book? I say, I have them in notebook. Then someone reach out to me and tell me there's a way you could get it done. Get it done through Amazon. And at that time, they tell me could have been just in an electronic way, which was ebook. Then start with ebook. And now people can hold the physical book. Someone say, but the motive can be pure, my brother. But you say pure, what do you mean? That's what I'm trying to understand. When you say pure, what do you mean? These are words. These are some words. These are words they give us. And do you realize they give you a language? a defeating language to speak because you're still thinking in good and in terms of good and bad. So they use the word pure to fool you. Don't make nobody fool you. The bad is the good and the good is the bad. You can't have light without darkness. You can't have darkness without light. Master polarity. I'll say I was going to come to a close, but I really have to really talk here. You have to master polarity. That is the thing that melanated people, because we've been trained by our parents, and because the brainwash and the trauma and these things passed down from the plantation. Do you realize that it was the reverse was using and the plantation? They was telling them the truth to live a lie, so then go live a lie. Do you realize the people who hold on to the Bible and goes to church every Sunday and thinking is the truth, their life always end up as a lie? Why do you think so much people are vaccinated? They had loans and mortgages with the bank and the credit union. Everything the people own, they own from the bank and the credit union. So they had to take the vaccination. Because why? They're living as a slave. Only slaves just take vaccination to keep their jobs and to pay their loans and their mortgages. So they use the Bible, which is a book of mind science, and they use a psychology and the people. So you have to reverse it. So they tell you it's a book of truth. I am telling you it's a book of lie, because it's a book of faith, and faith is you believe in a lie until the lie turns into material, hard and objective fact. Like you see, taste, touch, and smell. You get me now? So when people talking about, oh, but the motive can be pure, there's nothing that is pure. There's nothing that is pure. There's no one who does get good thoughts alone. You always have good thoughts, positive thoughts, and negative thoughts. Thoughts that can build you and thoughts that can bring you down. And it will always be like that. So the religious upbringing, it damages your mind. It gives you a mental sickness. And that's what happening to our people. Someone said that I saw a lamb that looked as if it had been slaughtered. A lamb. But it was now standing between the thrones and the 4 living beings. And among the 24 elders, he had 7 hands and 7 eyes. Okay, 7 is speaking of completion. Okay, when you talk about a lamb being slaughtered, this is the animalistic you that must be slaughtered, so you can live in your higher mind. There are 4 level of consciousness you have to come to. So when you talk about the 4 living beings and so on, it's different stages of life that you have to come to. You have to come to different stages of life. This is not a religious thing. The Bible is not a religious book. Don't make nobody fool you. It's mind science. And then the pale-skinned people, they use it as self-development and self-help. Because they're using it in a reverse way to trick you. "24 elders. 2 plus 4 is 6. Use the elder. Six will always give you 3 and 9. You must come to the 9 power to discover your higher self. 9 is the highest number. You come from 0 right up to 9. When you reach 9, you have to start over. 10 is a 1 and a 0. The 0 represent that which have no beginning and have no end. You have to start with the self. That's what the 0 represent. So there's no number higher than 9. So when you read all these things in the Bible, it's a coded language. And the English language is a coded language too. So it's a two-edged sword, the English language. That's why they use the English language against you. Language is a weapon. Let me just read on these last ones here. Because I could even elaborate with the 7 horns and the 7 eyes. Okay, it's not 7 as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everyone on this planet have an eye inside. That must be activated. If you don't have the eye inside of you, it means you do not have a soul. And melanated people, because of the melanin, and because of the close affinity to the sun, they can transcend the fastest because of the eye inside of them. What happened? We're going on this planet, a stolen identity. They acting like you. While on the other hand, you trying to act like them. Not know they steal your identity. Come on, this son. They steal your identity. That's what's going on. Stolen identity. Somebody say which represent the 7-fold spirit of God that is sent out into every part of the earth. Okay, remember mention the eye, which is the eye of consciousness. Okay, the eye of consciousness. Okay, you link that back up to the 7 chakras. Okay, you link that back to the rainbow. Come on. That's why you can't interpret the Bible as no literal book. It's a coded book. We don't have to have something to sell. However, you are right that we have to be examples of progress for people to gravitate to the message. Everything is selling and buying. Doesn't matter how you put it. Because it's an exchange. Everything is based on the exchange. Your breath is based on an exchange, an inhalation and an exhalation. You go to work, you exchange your service or your labor, which is basically your time. And they're paying you for your time. And they're buying time. So the more money people get in this world, the more time they could buy. That's why these people could go on vacations and so on. Why black people working chasing for money? So I know what I'm saying. So you will find you got a resort or a hotel. The black people they're serving, and these people lying and they're enjoying the sun. Because our people have been taught to sell their time for money. But when you understand that you are money, because you carry a currency. Money is a currency and you carry that living currency. And when you start to understand it now, you attract it now and you exchange it to buy time. So you go on vacation whenever you want. When people working in the system with government, they have to ask for vacation time. They have to write to get vacation time. That's like living in a prison. Just like when you go to school, they tell you when to stand, they tell you when to sit. You have to ask to be excused to go out to pee. It's the same thing, it ain't changed. It's the same system. It never changed. Okay? It's the same system happening over and over and over and over again. That's why our people have been remaining in it for so long. Even bad motives can work together for good. Of course. That's deep but sweet. It is the truth. We have to get rid of this Christianity thing and morals and this and all of them shit. That's how they weakness. It said that the devil will tell 99 truths. Who is the devil? The devil is you to tell a lie. Even he is accepted. Understand that point. Look, bro, let me tell you something. They tell you, they brainwash you and tell you must accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, but they never tell you to accept the devil as your personal destroyer. The devil is your personal destroyer because it's you. So they come to this whole Jesus foolishness, they try to make it personal, but when they come to the devil, they don't want to make it personal because they want you to believe in some entity on the outside. There's no entity on the outside. There's no one that's going to come and save you, and there's no one going to destroy you, but you're going to destroy yourself. Only you can destroy yourself. Only you could betray yourself. Only the thoughts of a man could betray a man. Someone says, I'm loving all your books. Thank you very much for supporting and buying my books. The only person who could punish you is yourself. The only person who could deceive you is yourself. There's no devil. It's all bullshit. It's yourself. So don't make them fool you. They use language to fool you, to deceive you. It's yourself. So if you speak against yourself and you go against yourself, you live in hell. Because speaking against yourself. Someone say by pure, I mean that our motive ultimately are for the establishment of balance among humanity. That I could take. Balance. But most people, when they talk about pure, they go to some extreme because they're measuring good and evil when it's the same thing. They're measuring God and the devil when it's the same thing. God is the devil and the devil is God. Been there, done that. You are speaking truth and that's good motive. Okay? Yeah, don't make the fool you about no God and devil. Okay? I was supposed to get to the car so long, but then me move down all the time. Okay? And someone say I was thinking the animalistic mind and the crown chakra as 7. It doesn't matter which angle you take it from to, even if you take it from the base of the spine to the crown of your head, it's basically the same thing. Okay? Everything in the Bible is speaking about the animalistic self, and which is your physical self and your non-physical self. Okay, like for example, people refer to Jesus Christ and they think is a man or some entity that existed thousands of years ago, and they fail to realize it's you, the body. So your body is the man. Okay, but you are divine. The invisible you and the visible you. That's what your story is all about. It's about the invisible you and the visible you. Someone mentioned the life cycle. Yeah, life is a cycle. It's just cycles happen. One cycle happening over and over. Okay, just the one thing. Light, darkness. Someone says to go back to Africa. To go back to Africa doesn't mean to go to a geographical location. It's to go to a rich place within you. That's why Africa is so rich. Oh my. If people realize the reason why Africa is so rich is to show you that there's a rich place in you, melanated man, that you must go to and find a rich place within you. That's what the world needs. Why are we listening to this Mexican? Post call me a Mexican. Okay? I prefer to call me a madman. Why are we listening to this madman? Okay, someone says we are mental beings before physical. Of course, first mental. If we can come to that fullness, then we are more equipped to manifest our shape, our reality. 100% agree with you. Okay, we are force mental. We are actually thought evolved being. Okay, before our mother or father could have come together in the act of sex to bring us here, it is a thought. So we are thought being. So we are force mental. Okay, so they want you to know that you're force mental. So everything is force mental before it becomes physical. But they make you look at the physical force. So for example, money was force mental before it become physical. So they have us chasing after money when money is basically the effect. But the mind is the cause. So because we were never taught that money is the effect. Okay. Most people believe that life is about you chasing after money. Okay. And that's why they educate you in school to go to school, get good grades, and then go look for a job. So you would never understand money. But money is the effect. But your mind is the cause. So it comes from the mind. So if you never really change your mind, you will never change your state. You'll never change your conditions in life. So it's all about the mind. That's why the preachers play with your mind. The politicians, they play with your mind. The school teachers, everybody is playing with your mind. So the game is all about the mind. Okay? I'm going to do the last and then I'm going to get to go because I have a lot of things to do. Let me just read this other comment here. Someone said, thank you for all the teaching today. We are all learning. Gratitude. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a learning process. Even me. Okay, because it was quite recently I realized that the Bible is actually based on a book of lies, right? Because it's a book of faith. Faith is a lie. You have to be able to tell the lie, okay? But I will go more deep and deeper as I continue to do videos. Okay, someone say oil Africans talking about manifesting their own reality, and they're the most miserable people I know. Yeah, people just talk about manifesting the reality and they're miserable because they want to manifest the reality with their old beliefs. But you have to unlearn and relearn and then reprogram. Okay, somebody here says when I reference the devil, it was not as an outside entity. Thank you for the clarification, but to show that in everything has a purpose and duality. I like the word duality, right? Which come back to polarity too. Okay, everything has its opposite side. Okay, but I think it would have been clarity for somebody else might have thought, well, when you say the devil, because in their mindset, is an entity on the outside, they might think so too. So even me saying it might help, may have helped someone else. Okay, in that sense, because our people need a lot of teachings. Okay, and I want to thank every one of you who've tuned in, and let us continue this teaching going. And at the same time, let us stand with the people of Venezuela because they're sovereign right, okay, as a people. And they've been following the process of what they call democracy. And they would have gotten a president through the democratic process. And there's no way I'm going to support Trump because he has gotten there also from a democratic process as declared. And no one is saying to dethrone him and to overthrow him. Okay, so what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. Okay, somebody say essentially deception is mixed with truth. Of course, everything is mixed. Okay, in terms of you have to understand that you have both positive and negative. It will always be like that. My girlfriend told me a guy she used to work with said he manifested the numbers for the pick 3 lottery. Yeah, people do that too. You can definitely do that. Let's grow inwardly. Thank you very much, my brothers and my sisters. Will definitely would have liked to continue more, but there's a lot of stuff I have to do. Okay, when I finish here, I have to go a long way to get my spring water. Okay, I have all my bottles in my vehicle there. I have to go get my spring water and so on, and I have my little daughter with me and so on and all of that. Okay, and my girl is with me and everything, so I definitely have to leave it here. Okay, for another time. I really want to thank you all very much. and let us stand with our brothers and sisters in Venezuela. Let us stand against genocide, and let us stand against the world police that wants to control the world and be a bully. Okay, everyone have the rights in their country to live as a sovereign people. That is my message. So with that, I say, my brother and my sister, I want to thank you very much. And also, before I end, let me say, remember the people in Gaza too. Okay, the Palestinian people. Okay, let us stand for what is right. Peace. Love you all.